Washington, D.C. is one of the most powerful capital cities in the world. Today, we will explore its long history, from its birth to the present day. After America gained independence in 1776, debates began about where the capital should be located. Initially, New York and Philadelphia served as temporary capitals, but to maintain balance between the northern and southern states, a neutral capital was needed. President George Washington himself resolved this issue. In 1790, Congress passed the Residence Act, which declared that the new capital would be built on the banks of the Potomac River. In 1791, 3 commissioners named the city Washington and the district Columbia. This is how the name Washington, D.C. originated. In 1791, French engineer Pierre L'Enfant designed the city's layout. He planned wide streets, large squares, and central government buildings to create a modern and organized city. In 1800, the U.S. government moved all offices from Philadelphia to the new capital, Washington. From then on, Washington, D.C. became the permanent capital of the United States. In 1801, Congress passed the Organic Act of 1801, declaring that this area would not belong to any state, but would remain entirely under the control of Congress. Thus, Washington, D.C. became a federal district. In 1814, British forces attacked Washington, D.C. and burned the White House, the Capitol, the Treasury Building, and other government structures. The city was reduced to ruins, but this devastation only made it stronger. Later, the city was rebuilt with new energy and modern planning. In 1871, Congress passed the Organic Act of 1871, merging Washington, Georgetown, and surrounding areas under one administration called the District of Columbia. This period marked the beginning of a golden era of urban development, with the introduction of trams, roads, and public buildings. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the city grew rapidly. The history of Washington, D.C. is deeply intertwined with the history of the U.S. presidency. The first president was George Washington, after whom the city was named. He was followed by John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, John Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson, Martin Van Buren, William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, James Polk, Zachary Taylor, Millard Fillmore, Franklin Pierce, James Buchanan, Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Johnson, Ulysses S. Grant, Rutherford Hayes, James Garfield, Chester Arthur, Grover Cleveland, Benjamin Harrison, William McKinley, Theodore Roosevelt, William Howard Taft, Woodrow Wilson, Warren Harding, Calvin Coolidge, Herbert Hoover, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Harry S. Truman, Dwight Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and currently, once again, Donald Trump, serving as the 47th President of the United States for his second term. This long chain of presidencies has kept Washington, D.C. at the very center of political history. Today, Washington, D.C. is not just the capital of the United States, it is the political heart of the entire world. Here stands the White House, the residence of the President, Capitol Hill, where Congress meets, and the Supreme Court, the symbol of justice. From here, decisions are made that shape the world, declarations of war and peace, economic strategies, and foreign policies. Washington, D.C. is not only an administrative center, but also a cultural hub. It is home to the National Mall, the Lincoln Memorial, the Smithsonian Museums, and countless monuments that bear witness to America's history. With embassies, international organizations, and diplomatic offices from all over the world, Washington, D.C. has become a true global political center. This city symbolizes freedom, democracy, and diversity. Here, the palaces of power coexist with the struggles of ordinary people, reflecting the very soul of Washington. The history of Washington, D.C. is in truth the story of a nation, of birth, destruction, reconstruction, and progress. What was once a land of mud and forests is now the most influential capital on earth. This city stands as proof that a nation that honors its history and values, leadership can truly shape its own future. Washington, D.C. remains to this day a symbol of power, policy, and leadership in the eyes of the world.